The honourable member for Grande, Prairie, Wapiti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House of Representatives has recently voted to repeal mandatory country of origin labeling for fresh beef, lamb, pork, and other fresh items, which required producers and processors to identify where an animal was born, raised, and slaughtered. This was costing Alberta agricultural producers millions of dollars to comply. This vote to repeal COOL was a great step forward for Alberta agricultural producers. My question to the Minister of Agriculture, as this decision by the House of Representatives goes forward to the U.S. Senate for consideration, what are you doing to ensure that Alberta ag producers see this law repealed for good?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for bringing up this very important issue. Alberta livestock producers work extremely hard and are an essential pillar of Alberta's economy. Our government is working to protect Alberta's farmers, which is why we are pleased the WTO has ruled again, for the fourth time, that these regulations are unfair. Our number one priority is always standing up for hardworking Alberta families and protecting Alberta jobs. We are committed to protecting our livestock industry and will continue to encourage the U.S. to lift these unfair and damaging rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Premier, given that last week you confirmed that you have not spoken to Rob Merrifield in the Alberta-Washington office, or any other staff working abroad for that matter, how can you say to Alberta agricultural sector that you are working on their behalf to lobby our southern cousins to repeal this regressive legislation?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. What I said last week actually was that I'd spoken to with my deputy minister in that department, and in fact I've been advised not only through the deputy but through other people that our representative in in Washington has done quite a good job on country of origin labeling issues, and that work is continuing to go on. So. You know, we're in good hands, and I know we're making progress on that issue, and I anticipate more work being done through the Minister of Agriculture in conjunction with it. Thank you.
Second supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the Minister of Agriculture. Given that you will be receiving very little support from this Premier, what can Alberta agricultural producers expect from you to offset the negative effects of having a government that is solely urban-centric?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you again for giving me the opportunity to explain that these discriminatory practices do hurt Alberta's farming families and need to be changed. I met with the U.S. Consul General just yesterday and discussed this issue. The U.S. House of Representatives have voted overwhelmingly to lift these unfair restrictions. It is now up to the U.S. Senate to follow suit. I understand there is a Senate committee hearing on this very issue tomorrow. The fact is, the U.S. is almost out of stalling tactics. We are working with the federal government. I have spoken with Minister Ritz to offer our support to ensure Alberta's interests are protected and the appropriate measures are taken if the Senate does not act to remove these regulations.